In America, almost 700,000 adults have received some type of therapy designed to change their same-sex attraction. That's about 1 in 500 Americans. It's called conversion therapy, reparative therapy, or reintegrative therapy. It's all grounded in the belief that being LGBT is a condition, and it's something you could be treated for. And according to many, though not all, readings of the Bible, it's also sinful. As of 2018, 14 states and the District of Columbia have banned these types of therapies for kids and teens under 18. California was the first to do so. And so, this is the story of how an openly gay politician from Cupertino decided to take these laws a step further. An initiative that had a lot of momentum behind it, and one that ignited a very different California. So you have this young California Assembly member, Evan Lowe.
I'm a fourth-generation millennial gay Asian in the Bay Area in California.
And in spring 2018, he introduces a new statewide bill to ban conversion therapy for adults.
I've heard about reparative and conversion therapy since I was very young. You would see select stories of individuals who say that they too could be changed and get out of a destructive homosexual lifestyle.
I wanted to change these same-sex attractions.
This is Jim, a former, as in formerly gay.
My choice was to choose heterosexuality. Therapy helped lay a base and understanding of root causes of same-sex attraction.
Now, these therapies are occasionally performed by licensed professionals, such as the late Joseph Nicolosi and his son, Joseph Nicolosi Jr.
My father treated more men with unwanted same-sex attraction than anyone in the history of the world. He had many individuals who were Catholic priests referring clients to him.
But it's more likely performed by pastors, who, beyond just offering one-on-one guidance, may also offer weekend retreats, conferences, paid lectures, they publish books, and so on.
They're just pastors who don't know a whole lot about sexual identity or sexual diversity or gender, the spectrum.
Aaron is part of a growing movement of LGBT Christians who previously considered or in fact did attend therapies and now are speaking out about the harm caused when you force someone to change.
The suicidal ideation, anxiety, depression, propensity for alcohol and drug abuse, those are the statistically proven results and consequences of telling someone they cannot be gay or LGBTQ. That is what is happening to them inside. So they're dying on the inside, and reparative therapy is just another nail in the coffin.
People like Pastor Jim Doman and Dr. Nicolosi Jr., who believe in this therapy, essentially believe in this idea that homosexuality is the result of some early childhood trauma, and that if you fix the trauma, the homosexuality will be erased.
There are many clients who say, really their goal is just to work on the underlying trauma. And as those underlying dynamics are resolved, the client's sexuality often changes on its own as a byproduct.
A lot of times a young boy will disconnect from his dad, and during important developmental years, that bond, that connection doesn't take place. So that desire to connect and bond with men is legitimate, but it becomes sexualized because that need wasn't met younger in life.
Many, many people disagree with these statements. The American Psychological Association has explicitly stated that not only is conversion therapy harmful, it's also totally ineffective. So now you have Evan. He wants to stamp out conversion therapy in California for everyone.
To call it what it is, a fraudulent practice.
To do so, he's going to use consumer protection laws and declare that conversion therapy is a fraudulent business practice. It costs money, and it doesn't work. The first day for committee arrives. Evan calls up medical professionals.
There is no scientific evidence supporting it.
And survivors of conversion therapy.
I implore you, please protect members of our society like me.
There is opposition.
My homosexual feelings disappear.
How about we let adults make their own decisions about what goals and objectives they want to pursue in therapy? The state has no business telling someone that their therapy goals are illegal.
The hearing is contentious.
I do want to thank all of you for this very robust discussion.
It hasn't been robust, with all due respect. You have not asked us any kind of rebuttal questions.
Point of order,
here.
Mr. Chair. He's out of line. You will respect the process.
Thank you very much, and I think.
And then Evan steps up to conclude.
Thank you very much for the
Would you like to take a break?
No. I appreciate the conversation and the dialogue. When we hear about this notion of conversion therapy, it evokes a very troubling childhood of mine.
What about Sir, if I could ask you to, sir, please.
It was very difficult to present this bill because when thinking about childhood and that it would not be okay to be yourself. You heard testimony about suicidal thoughts. I have also had that. And that could conversion therapy help me? I would like to believe that I stand before you as a stronger person because of the efforts and the recognition that we are all so equal people, and that there is no notion that you need to convert, and you should be proud of your identity. Moving through the legislative process, we saw a wide variety of individuals from a very conservative segment of the religious community coming up in opposition to it, and frankly a lot of misinformation that this bill would ban the Bible, and that caught a lot of steam.
Assemblymember Lowe, I want to congratulate you for giving us the most phone calls this year on this bill.
Strongly opposed.
The bill's intent was to ban the sale of goods and services aimed at sexual orientation change efforts.
Strongly opposed.
To stop any advertising of such claims, to stop people from charging money for this.
Strongly opposed.
To calm the frenzy, though, that this bill would ban the Bible, because the Bible is a good, the bill was amended to just ban services.
The bill in itself qualifies under financial transactions. So to even those individuals who still wish to be subjugated to such harmful practices, by all means, help yourself. So you could still receive conversion therapy so long as that you're not charged for it.
Does anything in this bill prohibit the sale of the Bible?
No, it does not.
The reading of the Bible?
No, it does not.
Leaders or members of that faith community articulating their viewpoints about sexual orientation?
No, it does not.
Your bill is out, Mr. Lowe. Thank you again for being here.
We had the votes.
With that, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
We had bipartisan support. We had the indication that the governor would sign this bill.
And then all of a sudden, on the last day of the 2018 legislative calendar, the final day to get a bill through when Evan knew he had the votes, Evan withdraws the bill.
Like, I've just never heard, at least lately, of a lawmaker being able to accomplish passing a bill and then like going, wait, hold up. Maybe this is not a long-term solution.
You had the chance to pass a piece of legislation and you decided not to. I can't get over that.
Also, just the way my mind works, I just imagined all the people that are mad at him. You know? Like, I can't imagine being that guy. That's brave.
I received backlash for holding this bill, to saying, why would you do something like this? You're in the driver's seat. We know that we're on the right side of history. Why would you do that? Why pause? Because I think we are stronger together.
Father, we just thank you that we can come to you, Lord, all of us. Lord, we recognize Evan Lowe as, Lord, an assemblyman and a leader in this state, and we thank you for him. And Lord, we just lift him up to you, and I ask that you bless him, God, that you would just minister to him, speak to him, and Lord.
I was surprised that Evan Lowe withdrew the bill. I invited pastors in his district to come meet with him, and it was a great way just to actually say thank you for withdrawing Assembly Bill 2943.
Some of the churches believe that if the bill was to be signed into law, that they would face litigation should there be preaching of same-sex attractions.
You have to make a living, and really it's targeting certain professional groups, including pastors, as well as formers, and really trying to harm them financially. If Assembly Bill 2943 would have become law, we already had an attorney that would have filed lawsuits.
Oh yeah, we were so ready because I was sure that it was going to pass, and I wanted, the next day to be able to file that lawsuit.
If you're going to violate my freedoms, sure.
Knowing that the makeup of the Supreme Court right now is conservative, strategically that would have been beneficial to us going with a lawsuit that is First Amendment and religious freedom issues.
The lawsuits wouldn't just be about religious liberty, but also the rights of the ex-gay community, what Jim calls formers, and also describes as a super minority.
God gives me creative things. Super minority was how I looked at it. If you look at the LGBT community, it's about 3.8% of the United States population. That's a minority. Formers are people who've left the LGBT community and no longer in the lifestyle. That's even a smaller percentage than the 3.8. So that's how I would describe a super minority.
Sprinkled throughout the committee hearing, he and other formers spoke about how these therapies have helped them.
I left a transgender lifestyle.
Former lesbian behavior.
Former homosexual.
I have not identified as a homosexual for 23 years. I have a child.
And you're opposed to the bill?
It was an assault on my life, my story, my wife, my children, really anyone with same-sex attractions. Should they choose to go a different direction? You're fraud.
So to have actual people telling their stories, you can't really deny their existence, and to do so really discriminates against a super minority. Those are people that deserve protection as well, and that their experiences are true and help them.
It was unconscionable that our government, supposed to be a free country, would dictate how I could choose or not choose my sexuality.
Beyond just organizing the formers, Jim is also organizing pastors around the state to run for office, to get on local school boards, to start advocating for religious liberty issues at the local level.
And so we're here today to remind you that God is not finished with California, that Jesus is Lord over the state of California. Amen.
Any pastors in here running for office, would you please stand?
And there's enough power in this room to take back the state.
Come on.
Amen?
Well, we ask for your divine anointing over them, Father God. Every area of the run, Father God.
But the reason why Evan Lowe pulled this bill is because members of the religious right have started to publicly acknowledge that conversion therapy does do harm. And so if Evan Lowe could get more buy-in from other pastors, then the legislation would be stronger.
There was an olive branch by that op-ed by the former president of the National Evangelical Association denouncing conversion therapy.
It meant a lot to him. I mean, that was a big deal for him because that hadn't happened in this state before. Yes, we can support his opposition to conversion therapy because we recognize the psychological harm that can happen to people who undergo conversion therapy.
And so there's this new fragile trust between Evan Lowe and parts of the religious right.
I was so moved by the people that I've had conversations with who told me we would stand with you in denouncing conversion therapy, but just not through this bill. So could we come together and move forward in a different iteration of a different piece of legislation?
And Lord, just as we talked about a lot of things in our head, Lord, we're not here to change each other's minds. Lord, we're here to have you just touch our hearts.
Thank you much. Thank you very much.
It's not clear he'll win over everyone.
Come more often.
Especially the formers, who believe in the therapy and who rely on it as a source of revenue.
I knew I was not going to change their mind. They're not going to change my mind. Most people say, why would I waste my time? When I know my values, I know I'm going to read and choose this bill. I know that I don't believe in conversion therapy and that conversion therapy should be completely gone. And yet there's individuals who fundamentally believe in that. Or the people that still believe that marriage should be between a man and a woman. This is our democracy. We can agree to disagree. I also told them, they asked about conversion therapy, and they said, well, what was it about conversion therapy? They said, couldn't you just leave it alone? I said, just the notion of conversion therapy as an existence is antithetical to my very being. And so that's why we must focus on eradicating conversion therapy, and we should celebrate and love people for who they are.